on the 18th of September 2020, top cop Charl Kinnear was gunned down outside his home. To this day, his family has not received answers as to why Kinnear, who was investigating highly sensitive matters, was not properly protected. IPID's probe into the matter has been classified as it implicates high-ranking police officers, and there's concern about witnesses not being properly protected. Now, today there was a parliamentary hearing into the matter, and I'm joined now by Charl Kinnear's widow, Nicolette Kinnear. Nicolette Kinnear, thank you so much for joining us. I know you were at that hearing today. I wonder if you could just tell us briefly what came out of it.
Hi, good evening, Sally, and thank you for having me. What came out of the meeting? I think the last time I cried as much, I think, was the day that my husband was assassinated. The meeting was called so that we could get answers, or the portfolio committee wanted SAPS, the DPCI, who's the Hawks, and IPID around one table with the portfolio committee in order to get answers in terms of the reports, the recommendations that were made in the report by IPID, etc. We all know the report initially came out, or I met with them in May, and that is my concerns, is that when I met with them and we discussed certain issues, that's now after the report was finalized. I had a lot of questions, obviously, and I actually asked in the meeting whether I could get a copy of the report, and I was said, yes, absolutely, as a family we are entitled to. The only thing was that it needed to be tabled in Parliament first, which would obviously come via the Portfolio Committee, and then it would become public, and we would be able to have a copy. We now know in August it surfaced in the Portfolio Committee that via the Speaker a letter was sent to them to say that the document has been classified as top secret. So our question, or as a family, is that why, if the document was classified from day one, or once the report was finalized, why would I have been told that I would be able to get a copy? So that was our first question. The other questions that they wanted answered in the committee was like, what has SAPS done? Because obviously IPID cannot implement, they can only do recommendations. Well, we got a long waffle story, around and round again in circles, one investigation after the other. I cannot understand if IPID has done an investigation for so many months. They are there to investigate, in this case, where there's police officers involved, which they've done, and now they've presented the report, and now SAPS feels they need to investigate again. So that was how my day planned out, Sally, with a lot of nothing going on, a lot of no reports, no follow-throughs, nothing.
I mean, it's crazy, you know. I mean, we know that IPID has come out and said, look, we need to protect potentially vulnerable witnesses, which sounds like a very legitimate reason. But, you know, you're explaining to me that it was freely available. You'd had a look at it. It was due to be tabled, and then retrospectively, it was classified. So at the moment, is it still classified, or was there a decision today to declassify it?
No, it was apparently now classified officially on instruction given by the minister. So what the problem now is, and it happened on numerous occasions today, where the Parliament, some of the honourable members wanted to ask questions, but they are unable to do so because that would mean that they are now divulging or diverting to the report, and they're not allowed to ask or mention anything that is in this report. So my question is, how is an overseeing body such as the Portfolio Committee going to be able to hold SAPS accountable, ask the necessary questions if they're not allowed to speak about the report? It's impossible.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what's going to happen now? What did the Portfolio Committee say? I mean, did they signal unhappiness at the way things have proceeded? What was the outcome at the end of the day? Any firm decisions?
Well, the one firm decision was that there was a certain referral to the DPP, which was for criminal charges, which was declined to prosecute. The matter has now been referred to the NDPP. There was other decisions, departmental decisions, that IPID was not satisfied that the recommendations have not been followed through. So they are going to pursue that as well. And that is why I'm saying, Sally, that it's like watching, today you were watching Showmax, the day before I was not watching Netflix. I must just decide what movie I'm going to take out tomorrow.
One of the questions that has never been answered, and it revolves a security detail that was surrounding your husband, I understand, and please correct me if I've got the facts slightly wrong. My understanding is that the security detail he had was removed just days before he was killed, and we have not yet ever got an answer as to who ordered the removal of that security detail. Is that correct information, and do you have any answers?
Look, the detail wasn't removed a couple of days before. The detail was withdrawn in December 2019. We literally only had detail for about a month, from the 13th of November until the 19th of December. Today in the meeting, the provincial commissioner did say who was responsible for the removal of the guarding in 2019, that is. What I, however, feel is grossly unfair is that because no questions can be asked about the report, it makes it very difficult, because I can just bluntly come and put somebody's name on the table and I cannot ask, but why didn't Sally do this and this and that? Or why didn't Mr. So-and-so do that and that? Because that is going to mean I am tapping into the report. So it's very easy to come and just put one person's name out there without adding in anything, and nobody can ask about that. So, and that is why I'm not even going to mention it, because I agree that there is some form of accountability, yes, but I also know that in order for this person to have pursued or done what he or she was supposed to do, they had to get other documents and information from other senior officials enabling them to do so. Nobody touched on that today.
And you know, I mean, it's obviously heartbreaking, and you have to keep going through this, and you're just not getting the answers you need. Do you have faith that the system will ultimately get there? Because we've heard so many commitments in government to rooting out the corrupt, the bad apples in the police and in other areas of society. Do you believe that there is a process underway? Do you have faith in that process, that ultimately you will get your answers?
You know what, Sally? Firstly, and I've said this many times, and I think people who know me, who have gotten to know me, will know that, yes, I am fighting for justice for us as a family and for my husband and what happened to us. But this is not about us. Nothing that's done now, whether SAPS rewrites whatever policy, security, etc., is not going to change my situation. What I'm trying to do is that it doesn't matter who and what you are. What has happened, happened. We cannot undo that. Whoever didn't do what they were supposed to do when they had to, even if they do it now, it's not going to bring my husband back. But we need to look at the process. We need to make sure that another member or family does not face the tragedy that we are going through or that we are still facing and had to face. The reality is there are hundreds of detectives out there also working on serious and sensitive issues like my husband. And that for me is a frustration. And that for me was why I was in tears today, because I cannot understand, why will you not hold people accountable? If somebody's not going to tell me that, listen, Nikki, what you are doing or going left is the wrong way, you need to go right, I'm going to continue going left for as long as I'm doing my job. So if nobody's going to be bold enough to put, I nearly said to put on big girl panties and say that, listen here, you are responsible. You cannot do it like this. Then we're going to keep on going down this road. And we cannot do that. This is people's lives are at stake here. Crime is no longer just a matter of housebreaking and office breaking and carjackings. This is serious, serious stuff here. The things that my family had to go through and other families had to go through and other detectives are going through, the least, and that is what we are asking, is just accountability. Honesty, transparency, and accountability. I can't go and bash the person's head against a wall because he or she didn't do what they were supposed to do. But a start for us as a family, and I think a start for us as the organization, as SAPS, is by admitting where we faltered. And we rectify that and we make sure that we don't go down that path again. And I can't understand why that's so difficult.
Yeah.